Okay.
Two real chicks, double shot, no check.
Are we live?
I hit the. Hold on.
Two real chicks, double shot, no chaser.
Okay. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to this. I can't even call it a podcast. I cannot call this a podcast. Today, we're going to be doing a reaction to the Love is Blind season 4. It's basically a recap. Y'all, we're going to get into it.
Yeah, it's the Love is Blind season 4 reaction. We have a lot to say about these couples
Quite a bit.
that are here. I don't know. There's a lot really to say about the show in general, about this season, about the show overall, and just how like Netflix and they need to do better with. There's a lot. There's a lot to say. There is a lot to say. So we probably will be here for a little bit longer than what we usually are. But y'all, it's a hot mess. And then we'll come back when they drop the final episodes and they drop the reunion. We'll come back and then we'll discuss
Yeah.
the weddings and all that kind of stuff. So this is part 1 of 2, basically.
Mm-hmm. So I got an icebreaker. So this week, well, I guess last week when they uploaded the latest episodes, I got to really see a lot of the guys for who they are. So Lyah, I'm gonna answer the question too. Y'all, excuse the dog. Everybody on this block got dogs, but if you had to choose one of the guys from this season to have to answer the question, would you date them? Would you marry them? Because that's the premise of the show, getting married at the end of the show or not. Who would you choose?
I would have chosen Marshall hands down to marry.
Mm-hmm.
Marshall was one of those guys that like he treats women with respect. He's not one of those rough around the edges or quote unquote alpha males or anything like that. He's really respectful. From what I saw on camera, he's really respectful. Really like was taught well as far as like how to was raised well and knows how to treat a woman. And he's emotionally aware, which is like something that Black men usually lack. You know what I'm saying? He's expressing his emotions. He's very easygoing and go with the flow type of person. I would have definitely chosen him to marry, hands down. Like I just feel like I would feel so safe with him. I would feel able, like I feel like I would be able to like say, hey, this is bothering me and this is what this is, and he would try to help me figure it out. I literally feel like that, and that's which is why I feel for him in the situation that he's in. But
Yeah.
we'll talk about him a little bit later, and that a little bit later.
Mm-hmm. If I had to choose out of one of these guys, it would have to honestly be. I want to say Marshall, but I don't want to pick the same person. But I would say Brett. If I had to choose anybody else, it would be Brett. I feel
Yeah,
like
him
he's
too.
doing well with expressing his emotions. And I think a lot of these men that's on there right now, between Marshall and Brett, those are the only two I could think of that really express themselves
Yeah,
and not in a disrespectful way. Um, so yeah, it would be Brett for sure for me.
it would definitely be Brett as well because he works really, really well with Tiffany. That's actually the first couple that we're going to end up talking about since we are already on the subject. Brett and Tiffany on Love is Blind, they really hit it off very well in the pods. It wasn't like any type of mind games with the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um I feel like you remember when we had the conversation about it just seems like they don't have any issues or any conflict, right? I said that before watching those last few episodes. And literally her friend said the exact same thing that I said, which I thought was insane. She was like, you two just never seem to have any conflict. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just like, when it arise, how are you guys going to work through that? Because it just seems like you guys are in that happy stage, in the
Yeah.
honeymoon stage. And honestly, I'm glad to see a Black couple on television who is like not, it's not where it's not toxic. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, this man loves this woman like dearly, and vice
Mm.
versa. And it's not like a toxic thing, or you know, it's not like where she's in a predicament where she is not ready to receive that type of love. Like, she literally said, "Hey, I've dated around. I've been dating for a while. I've dated many a guys, and so now I'm at an age where I know what I want, and he is that." And I love their relationship and like their dynamic. I love how they're able to sit down and talk about their issues like
Age
grown people.
adds a lot to that because she says a lot on the show. I'm 36 years old. I didn't think this will ever happen for me. And I think he's like 35, 36 as well.
They're the same age, so that plays a lot
Yeah.
into it.
I think it was kind of like a perfect match, honestly. Like,
Literally.
from the outside looking in, it looks like it's going to be a marriage that works. Like Cameron and
Lauren.
yeah, Lauren, they're
They
still,
were a shoe in. That now, like, that's when Love Is Blind was in its golden age. It
yeah.
was new, it was fresh, and like, you know, um, because it was in a pandemic, it was something different, and it kind of fit the theme. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's socially distanced. Everybody's,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? But like with those two, I feel like they will get married. I think that, like, yeah, everybody, you should be, if you're not afraid, if you're not scared at this point, I'm gonna probably give you the side eye, because like, what the fuck, why are you just so happy go lucky? If you ain't got cold feet, because that's normal. But like, I think these two are gonna get, I think they're gonna get married. I think they're gonna make it. I feel like if they do have some kinks or whatever in their relationship, I think that they will work through those, because when they got to talking about, what, and what makes me say that is the episode where they got to talking about their finances, where she was like, "How good do you think you are with spending money?" Usually finances are a very tense conversation. It's a very tense subject for any couple, right? They handled that conversation very well. It was very much like, well, I've seen the things you wear and you dress really, really nicely. And I was just wondering, like, if we had to cut back, would you be able to do that? And that's and like, when you grown like that, that's how you have a conversation. Like, look, listen, I know, I see you got expensive taste. I see that. I see how you live, and I know how I live, and I know that the way I view money and the way I spend money is going to be different from yours. So how are we going to work through that? That's how you have a conversation. That's why I think that if conflict did arise between the two of them, they would be able to like work it out. They're going to be in a way better position in a predicament to work it out than any other couples on the show, in my opinion.
I honestly, at first, I was like, this is too good to be true. By the time the honeymoon episodes come on, you kind of really get to see people's true colors.
Yeah.
But even at the honeymoon, them two still was being themselves. They still was the same people they were in those pods. And
Yes.
I think from my side, looking into it, I can definitely see like they look like it's a very genuine couple. And we haven't seen that in a long time on Love Is Blind, because I feel like they're at the stage now where people are joining this show. We're going to get to that. Joining this show for clout. And it upsets me that some people, think this is just like a big come up. But if you're genuinely here for love, I think you can find it. And I think these two have found that. So my prediction, do I think they're going to say yes, both of them on each side? Yes, they have full support on both sides. I remember when they sat down with his dad, and I was like, my heart, like, he was so like,
Oh, his dad was just like, oh yeah, his dad loves her just as much as Brett does. I keep want to say Brett, and it's Brett. Yeah. And I think that's a sign too, because I think even when meeting her family, like, everybody on both sides, everybody is so receptive of the two of them. Like, everybody's like, oh yeah, you two are perfect, you two are so cute together, and they're so like in love and very much lovey-dovey. So it would really shock me if something came out about them where it was just like, okay, this ain't really what it is. Like, in front of the cameras, yeah, we're smiling and da 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 da, but it's like, And I could appreciate how in that episode where they were talking about, where Tiffany was saying like, hey, I know you've been noticing I haven't really been getting much sleep. I've just been really stressed about the wedding, and I'm just really, and I could appreciate how like he was very comforting and being like, I understand all of that, and I've been noticing it, just trying to help as best he can. I really feel like you said, if anybody gonna make it out of these couples,
out of everybody,
them two.
Them two for sure. So I guess we'll move along to the next couple, Micah and Paul. Girl, they make my head hurt. But before we even get into them as a couple,
let's talk about them as individuals.
Talk about
first.
The pods.
Literally.
Go ahead.
Oh, I thought you was gonna do it.
You can start that off.
So okay, y'all, if you've been watching the show, when it started off in the pods, like Paul had like two love interests, two different people that were interested in him, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe three, actually. I think he had three, because I think Irina was interested in him as well in the pods, but it just never really worked out like that.
Yeah.
But I know for sure he had two. He had Amber and he had Micah.
Yep.
I didn't like how they initially got together. I didn't appreciate that. And I feel like it was very much like with Micah, it was, you gave me this is a game to you, and you're gonna win a cash prize. Because the way they went about it, like the way it was edited on television, from what we saw, it was almost as if it was really sneaky, and it was like really like, I don't know how else to explain that, because the way they did it, the way they went about it, because Micah was feeling Kwame.
Yeah, I thought they were going to be together.
Yeah, I just thought they were a shoo-in. She was feeling him at first, but then she was like, well, if you really like me, then you have to really like turn everybody else off. Like, we just have to really date each other, if that's what we're gonna do. Y'all, her mouth sound like it be twisted.
It gives PJ's character.
When she get drunk, like when people drink Seagram's gin straight,
and they go
and they get to twisting their mouth up and shit. They get to making that ugly ass face. That's what she sounded like when she drunk, and then like when her voice is already like slick, kind of raspy-ish, and then she got a little Valley Girl. So like when she started talking, when she gets drunk, it's worse. And it's annoying. Her voice is annoying to me. Yeah, but anyways, it is like, it's so annoying. I hate. And then Paul starting to sound like her. He getting annoying too. But anyway, that's not.
But Paul always sounded like that though. Paul's voice was always.
I don't know, but like just Micah as an individual, when she got with Irina, it gave very much Mean Girl. So it's like a lot of the stuff that's happening to her, I feel like it's payback for her being a mean girl, and like watching all the other girls, who genuinely had their feelings invested into this, cry and like really be stressed out because there are other women liking the men that they are dating. So it's just like Micah as a person, I cannot unsee her being a mean girl. Same. I can't unsee that. And when that shit happened with her and Irina, I was like, that's exactly what the fuck you get. You called this girl your best fucking friend, and you only knew her for 3 minutes. 3 minutes, and she told you she was a mean girl. She was like, I really want to try to be a nice girl, but like, I'm just a mean girl at heart. Like, y'all literally sat there and laughed. Like, and that's what you get, because she tried to get your man.
Micah and Irina in the pods Irina was sneaky. She was very much. It came to things, and I don't like that. She did what she did to Bliss, but we're gonna get to that when we talk about Zach and Bliss. But Irina was the girl that nobody talked to in the pods, and Micah saw her trying to take her under her wing. And when that happened, that's when we saw the dynamic of who was it that was crying that Micah told Irina to go laugh at? Well, go spy on.
I feel like it was Bliss, because if you remember.
Yes. Micah, okay, so Bliss and Zach can end up talking. And Zach told Bliss, like, basically it's not going to work. I'm choosing someone else. So she came out the pods crying. Arena seen it and she was like, oh, wow. To Micah, they're talking about it or whatever, chopping it up. And then Arena goes over there watching this girl cry. It was so fucking weird. And I was
and
like,
then starts mocking her.
yeah.
Like, what?
I was like, this is the shit that kids do. Y'all are too old for this. And I think Arena was one of the youngest ones in the house. I think she was about 25. So
her and Micah were the youngest ones.
Mm-hmm. So I can't even say, oh, it's just age, because it's not like me and Lyah are too far away from them bitches. Like, they're weird and very mean girlish. But let's get into Paul and Micah, which I don't see how they're compatible. I don't see it. And I don't see the connection. I don't see her liking him. Not even a little bit. I don't see it. But Lyah, tell us your thoughts on them too.
I just feel like with those two, I don't really have much to say about them. They're annoying to me.
Very.
I feel like she is, I don't know, she's just too much of a mean girl. And I feel like Paul doesn't really realize, like, I feel like Paul don't know that. I feel like Paul doesn't know that Irina, I feel like Paul doesn't really realize just how because nobody really, and I feel like nobody really fucked with her either in the pods.
No.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, once her little friend was gone and stuff like that, you saw she tried to mingle with everybody, but it was just like, girl, you really was an asshole to people in the pods, like you and her both. And like, people would call you out on it and would be like, hey, listen, I don't know what y'all got going on, but y'all are being real. You know what I'm saying? Like, folks are giving y'all the side eye. And I'm quite sure there's a lot of stuff that we didn't see. But with those two, I don't know. I don't know. I have no thoughts on them, honestly.
So Paul had told, so Micah was told by Irina, I think when they were leaving the Hawaii trip, or was it
It was Mexico.
Yeah, when they were leaving Mexico, Micah got approached by Irina. Irina was like, I really like Paul. I fucks with Paul. I want Paul, pretty much. And Micah was caught off guard. She told her man, and he was like, what? Made Micah feel uncomfortable. So Micah and him are in the house together, in the apartment together, and it's really making Micah feel some type of way. She eventually does meet up with Irina, how the hell you say her name? They end up meeting up, and it was very much like, I am putting you in your place, but it's like, you were so, oh, my bestie, I love her, that's my friend. You didn't know this girl. You did not know her.
Literally didn't know her from a can of paint.
And
didn't know her from sugar to shit.
She wanted your man, and if she could have anybody else, I'm sure they would have went for it, but it was the fact that Zach pissed me off in the midst of this, but we're going to get to Zach here in a second. We're going to get to him because he pissed me off with the way he was telling Bliss how he thought he felt about Irina, and I'm like,
that's a whole other tangent. Yeah.
So when it comes to Micah and Irina, it's really one of those situations was like, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. That's kind of the dynamic that I got from that whole situation. Like we said, Micah and Paul are really the most uninteresting couple on this thing. If I don't see them on camera, I'm happy. If I see them, I'm irritated. Child, that's just how I feel. They're very uninteresting. But one thing I did like is that they had their rings. They made their rings. And I was like, that's cool. See, and then I was like telling Anthony, like, oh my God, we should do something like that. Like, I think that would be really, really cute. It makes the ring a little bit more personalized. Yeah.
Your thing is cutting out real bad.
Hold on, let me turn off my. Okay. I had my voiceover on. It was reading something, a notification I had.
Before we get off of them though, I do want to talk about some of their. I do want to go a little bit more in depth because I feel like we really haven't been going in depth on them like that.
Because they're terrible.
With Paul and Irina, like they like a lot of the other couples here are trying to figure out where they're gonna stay.
Oh,
because
shut up that.
because because you've got one of them staying in Arizona, and then you got the other one staying in Seattle, where where they're filming it at. And it's like they're not the only ones who are trying to figure that out. You've got
Mhm.
like two other couples, I believe. I think Chelsea and Kwame were having this issue, and so were no, I don't think Zach and Bliss had that problem. I think they
No,
both stay in.
yeah, they're in
Yeah,
Seattle.
yeah, I think they both stay in Seattle already. But there was one other couple that was having this same issue, and so they're trying to figure out. I feel like I think Paul is just gaining his footing here. He already has a life set up there
Yeah.
in Seattle, and so it's kind of like who when you're in that situation, I feel like it becomes like who can afford who can afford to pick up and move.
Yeah.
Like who doesn't have much to lose when it like I feel like that's the way you look at that, because if you look at it like, okay, you're in Arizona, you do this, that, and the third, you could probably transfer your job to here, and you know what I'm saying? Whereas me, my job requires me to do this, and this, and this, and I probably can't get a job out there. You
But
know what I'm saying? So when you
he wasn't moving. Like he wasn't interested. But then you'll see clips of him saying like, I mean, I guess I should compromise. He don't want to move at all. And I
yeah,
think people are willing to come see him and they do that distance thing. But Arizona to Seattle, Washington, that's damn near the opposite side of the United States. Like they're not close at all. So I can see it on his end of just being like, I'm established here. Like I have found my footing. And I don't know what her job is. I don't know if she said it or whatever, but it don't sound like she's as like sunk in her soil there, I'm
it's
not.
just one of them. It's just one of those things where like you'll see that is the biggest thing. It's like where are you
Yeah.
guys gonna live? I feel like Zach and Bliss had a similar situation. I might be wrong, but like it's one of them things where when you're thinking about it, it's like either way you've got a life established.
Yeah.
In both places, even if it's not as established as the next person. Hey, it took me a minute to get here. I feel like she's been in Arizona for a minute, and
Mm-hmm.
she's got a good bit of friends there and stuff like that. So it's like I got to pick up all that and leave all that behind and come
Yeah.
to Seattle. And I don't know if a long distance marriage is actually going to work. So something's going to have to be between those two. Also, speaking of friends, let's talk about her friends for a second.
Oh Jesus.
Let's talk about her friends, because I feel like her friend never really gave a reason as to why she felt like he wasn't right for her.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there's a difference between like, okay, I don't think he's right for you because yada, 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 yada. I've been here for all these and this, that, and the third. Like, I get that, but like, I don't know. First of all, I did not appreciate how she allowed her friends to talk to him.
Thank you for watching the Two Real Chicks podcast. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to our channel and press the bell so that you don't miss a single upload. We're always interested in hearing what you think, so be sure to leave your comments and thoughts on this week's episode in the comments below. We'll see you next time.
Or I feel like what will be an issue in their relationship would be her friends. I know you say you don't care about what they think, but you do, because you keep trying to get them to see him for what you see him. You know what I'm saying? In a way that you see him.
Yeah.
And if they don't, then they don't. But at the end of the day, like the opinions of people around us that we care about, they matter. They matter. Maybe not as much depending on the person, but they still matter to some degree. And you want everybody to like your partner. And unfortunately, everybody doesn't. When you have one friend that's very clear, like, I don't like him.
And it's weird because I can see if you just didn't understand the experiment, because they keep calling this an experiment. I can understand if you just don't completely accept it and you've seen her with better guys. Maybe it was because, Paul's kind of like I'm not trying to disrespect the man, but he's kind of like dorky looking. He's not like the guy that I feel like Michael's friends would be okay with if he was like a jock, that typical jock stature, the way he talks, the way he walks, the way he carries himself. He's not that. And I feel like all they see, you just keep telling us you love him and all this. You're not, we don't see it physically. It's a physical thing, I feel like. And plus, y'all haven't sat down and talked to this man from what we're being told, from watching the show. Y'all haven't really had a sit down. Y'all haven't had any other experiences outside of standing in this damn club. And it's like, as someone's partner, you have to protect them, especially if you feel like they're being disrespected. Don't say something on the side.
Exactly.
Respect is public. You confront that person publicly. And Micah just didn't protect him in that moment. Her friends are very much still trash, because I saw even in the clips where they were getting into the wedding, her friend still was like, girl, no. Like, and she said in the past, I've told her, you're no longer with this person. Y'all have broken up. She said that to her. So it's like, why their opinions matter so much to you? Because if that's the case, she would have never went on that show. A lot of these people, they don't even tell their families and friends, oh, I'm going on Love is Blind, I'm going on this dating show.
Yeah, because they know how outrageous it sounds for you to meet, fall in love with, propose to, and marry somebody in a span of 2 months. That is insane.
25 days.
You don't
time.
Because you don't know anybody well enough in 2 months. You barely know anybody well enough in 20 years. Like, you will never know anybody as well as you think you do. But that time frame is very small, because you're squeezing. And if you notice, like, a lot of them don't start meeting families until like 6 days before the wedding.
Yeah. Or at the wedding, child.
And it's like, okay, we really don't, now we got to get to know him right along with you. So it's a lot for it's a big adjustment thing. But I just feel like the two of them, I feel like honestly they might get married. But then again, I don't know with the two of them. I don't know. I really don't care.
Them two, like I said, they're not interesting to me. I don't find nothing interesting about that couple. When I see them on camera, I'm just like, how long is this clip? Like, that's how I feel about it, because they're just not interested. She seems like she's forcing herself to love him, and he's just kind of like, I love her. I really do love Micah. She understands me. She gets me. And it's like, I haven't seen that on camera. Where are you seeing this? Because I don't see it on camera. It frustrates me. It frustrates me. So I guess next we're going to get into Zachary and Bliss. But before there was a Zachary and Bliss, there was a Zachary and Irina. Let's get into that. You want to start this one? Or do you want me to start this one?
You start.
Okay, so Zach and Irina were dating in the pods, just like Zach and Bliss was dating in the pods. But we're going to get to Zach and Bliss in a second, because it didn't end as blissful as it should have, okay?
I got a lot to say about them too.
Yeah. So we told y'all about how Irina was doing Bliss in the pods. So there was one particular clip in the show where Bliss was making Zach some homemade cupcakes. Irina was sitting there staring that girl down. It's like every time they went to the pods in the girl,
it was so weird.
Strange.
I just found that so odd, but keep going.
So every time we looked up, Bliss was just doing her thing, and Irina was just looking at her like, you stupid bitch, you're disgusting. Like, it was very disrespectful looking, right? So in the pods, Zach and Bliss had a really strong connection. I thought he was going to choose her. He didn't choose her yet.
She was a shoe-in.
He chose Irina. So his reasoning on choosing her was basically like, she doesn't want me for my money. Not saying Bliss ever said that, not saying Bliss ever gave off those vibes, but he said that she understands him and he can trust her. He could trust her, because he told Bliss the first time they talked that, oh, I'm a stripper. And Bliss was like, oh, really? She didn't give him a better, response to that. Mind you, his mother was a stripper, but child, we're going to get into that, I guess, in a second. So him and Bliss ended up not working out. We just told y'all about what happened. So him and Irina got together on the honeymoon. You could tell the connection wasn't there. It was like trying to fit.
Irina was bamboozled.
Yes.
Irina definitely got bamboozled on the honeymoon. Like they've seen the damn show. They know what it is. We ain't got to go into a deep detailed summary, but like On
But
the honeymoon,
start off
you
with
could.
that. So when they met in the pods, she was not physically attracted to him. That
Well,
was
she
the
couldn't see him, so of course she wouldn't be physically attracted
no.
because you don't know what he looks like.
When they met, she was not physically attracted to
Oh,
him.
outside of the pod when they, yeah, it
Yeah,
was real. That meetup was really awkward because
it
it
was
was just
weird.
like you could tell that Irina was like, "Ooh, this is not what I thought it was finna be," and
Mm-hmm.
like she did not want to kiss him. She did not want to hug him.
He was
She,
staring at her, and she felt awkward that he was staring at her.
yeah, and then she was like, she kept talking about this man on the low, not even on the low, but like out loud. You like a cartoon character, and it's like, what? She was checking this man, like literally she was checking this man, and it was one of the things where you could tell that the vibes were off. You could tell that Irina thought she had something in her mind, and it's like when she got it, it's like, oh no, this ain't it. So throughout the honeymoon, you could tell that like he just like he was like my favorite because when they eventually called it off after he got tired of being rejected because shit, rejection hurts everybody. He was like, honestly, my favorite part of it was when we weren't. Was she said my favorite part of it was when we were on opposite ends of the bed. That's how you know that ain't nobody really fucking with you for real, and that you're not a person's type. If you got everybody else, oh, we're they haven't really had sex, but they've at least kissed each other. They've at least held hands. They've at least cuddled, and they're
Yes.
like, we're taking it slow, or you know what I'm saying, or they've at least they've had sex. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? They haven't. They didn't. Irina and Zach didn't do any of that, and by like the damn near toward the end. At the end of the honeymoon, because that's when it was. At the end of the damn honeymoon was when he was like, "Nah, we just ain't gonna work. We just
Yep.
gonna call it." And I
Yep.
feel like that's what you get because you and like the old girl Bliss tried to warn him. Bliss kept saying like, "Hey, if I'm just letting you know what she's like in the pods. That's not somebody you want to be around. And if you pick her, I think it really does say a lot about you and
Mhm.
like your character." And I felt like that played a part in him not choosing her as well because I felt like when she said that, maybe he took that as an insult. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Or her being judgmental. But it's like, I'm telling you how it is, like how she is in the pods. Like, think about that for a second. First of all,
What do you mean?
you,
She's weird.
yeah, like first of all, you're 25 years old. And I also think Irina has some insecurities as well.
Oh,
Because when you go back and you look at the like episode 3 or episode 4, whatever episode it was, where he had to choose between the two, Irina was trying to lay it on thick, and I think she was doing things that she felt would give her the upper hand because in her mind, in her heart of hearts, she wasn't really secure with what she was doing and what she had in the moment. She's a business owner, and she's like, I mean, I know that I'm not as well spoken as Bliss, and I don't use all the big vocabulary words, and like, I don't have like a good paying job, and like, like all those different things, like, but still, like I really do like you, and I really, you know what I'm saying, really trying to sell herself.
she was giving him an ultimatum, like it's either me or her, and it was like, well, you bet not choose her. Like that's what it gave for sure.
She was trying to sell herself, and it
Hmm.
was just kind of like you sold yourself and you didn't deliver, basically.
I don't like that girl. I don't like her. Ew, it's so weird. So once they got back from the honeymoon, um, he hit up Bliss, and Bliss came through like, I don't want to be here. But you can tell like she still did have a connection with him. Like her
Well,
feelings.
no, they don't just fizzle out. Of course she did. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think okay, so Bliss and Zach, once they officially got together, she kept throwing it in his face like, you did propose to someone else, and I wasn't your first choice. I was telling Lyah, like, I feel like if they're gonna work, you can't keep throwing that in his face. That's like taking a cheater back. If he cheats on you, you take him back. When y'all get into an argument, you can't say, "Oh, you cheated on me." You can't say that anymore. That argument is now null and void. It's done. You can't use it.
But
So I hope
okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. I'm
I
with you.
hope they get some counseling because I was telling Leah about how Married at First Sight has, the experts on there, the love.
Yeah.
I hope that them two get, a therapist, a couples counselor, because is feeling like second choice. He understands that he chose someone else, then came back to her, but he needs to really understand how this could really impact their relationship in the long run. Because she tried to warn him, so this didn't happen. It still happened to her. She was your second choice. You did come back to her, and yeah, like I just feel like they need therapy. That's what I'm saying for now.
With Zach and Bliss, I have a lot to say about them too, especially with her dad, because her dad is like this.
Oh wait, he is going
Her
viral.
dad was like, "No, ma'am, you guys are getting married for the sake of getting married, and I ain't with that. I'm not feeling it. You ain't got my support." In
Yep.
so many words, is what he said. But like,
Mm-hmm.
back to the two of them, like you said, it's like taking a cheater back. You can't use that argument over, well, you cheated on me, you did this, you did that. Just because you can't use it don't mean you won't use it.
Yep.
And I said before the episode aired, I said if she takes him back, she's going to feel like second choice or second best.
Yep.
There's no way around that. And I know from experience what that feels like to have somebody pick you, you know what I'm saying, but secretly still want to go be with a girl that they had already been with before.
Mm-hmm.
And they compare you to her, and it's like all those different things. And she said, hey, I'm going to keep mentioning it, you know what I'm saying, to let you know that, like, hey, you chose somebody else over me. Like, I'm going to have to throw it back in your face a few times because it still hurts me.
Yeah.
It still hurts. Like, you broke my heart. You hurt my feelings. And so I had to go home and deal with that. And then you have to think about it. I'm still in the midst of dealing with this shit. And then you pop up on my doorstep, or you pop up in back in Seattle, asking me to meet you at a restaurant. You're telling me, hey, I made a mistake and I want you now. And I see the error of my ways and da da da. It's like, what do you mean? And it's like, you don't cut off a connection, especially if it's like that genuine, you know what I'm saying? And she took him back, and I think she loves him, but loves him enough to marry him after all of that? I don't think so.
No.
I think they're going to need a lot more time to work through those issues. And I think they're going to need some time to really just get to know each other. Because if you want to be technical, Irina stole a whole week away from them.
Yeah.
On the honeymoon. The honeymoon was that time for them to be alone, for them to be able to build, their relationship and get to know each other for real.
Yeah.
When he literally met her, when they only had like 15 days or something like that left, or something. Everybody had moved into their apartments. Everybody had already had their partners and all that kind of stuff. And then he ended up meeting her.
Yeah.
So it's like with that, and also I feel like she said something too that I kind of like, that I was just like, it really makes a lot of sense. She was like, I want you to do something because it feels right to you to do it, not just because you feel like you have to.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I'm marrying you. I made a commitment to you. And so now I have to marry you. I have to see it through. And she was like, well, I don't want you to do it because you made a commitment to me. He was like, but that's what marriage is. And it's like, yeah, but at the same time, I don't want you to be in here making decisions because you feel like, I already didn't choose you once. So now that I've chosen you, I have to marry you, and I have to, you know what I'm saying? There are other ways you can prove to me that, you know what I'm saying, I'm choosing you only, you know what I'm saying? And that I wouldn't do you like that again, and that was my fuck up. There are other ways you can do that. But it's like, if it doesn't feel right to you, don't sit here and put me through this again for a second time, and then, you know what I'm saying, you end up hurting me in the end. Mm-hmm. If it doesn't feel right for you, let me know now and say, hey, this is what I would rather do instead. If you want a date, if you want us to get to know each other a little bit longer, because I think even I don't think she lives in Seattle. I don't know if she does or not. I wonder if she lives in Arizona. I think she does. But if Bliss, I feel like she lived in Arizona, or she lives in Arizona.
Oh.
But even still, like, if dating is what you want to do, and you want me to get to know you a little bit better, and you know what I'm saying, then say that. But I feel like, don't just do something because you feel like that's just the natural next step. If it's not the natural next step for you, then don't do that. I don't, and I feel like she's more open to being like, hey, I'm not bound by this decision just because I said yes to you. I'm not bound by that decision. If I feel like when I get to this altar that it's a no-go for me, I won't tell you no. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she literally said I'm leaving my mind open to make,
Either
to say no, to make the best decision for me at that time. Which means if the decision for me at that time is to not marry you because I'm not feeling it, that's what I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna allow your proposal and me accepting that to, bound me to a decision to marry you. Like that's not how that's supposed to work.
But even if somebody says no on this show, I don't see that as a we gotta break up. I'm done with you.
Yeah.
As that. But she also mentioned he mentioned, well, if your father doesn't like me, does that mean that is this not gonna work? To me, it doesn't mean shit to me if anybody in my family doesn't like my person. Let just hear me out, y'all. If I can understand if this person has been a known abuser in other ways, if this person has been to jail for like domestic, like stuff like that, but like flat out, I ain't even trying to get to know this person. I just flat out don't like this person. To me, I'm like, well, fuck y'all. Like, y'all just being weird to be weird. But if you catch vibes, tell me what your issues are. Don't just shut it down. And I think her dad, he sounds like he's very old school with his way of thinking. Like, this is impossible. This couldn't work. This shouldn't. Like, why would y'all even try this type stuff? And I guess she ain't got too much of a good track record for him to go off of with boyfriends. And
but that's a dad for you though. Like,
and then that's her oldest baby. Like, that's his baby girl. Like, that's the way he see her. That's my baby.
That's his I think she's the youngest. She's the youngest.
No, he got 2 more kids. Her brother and sister were sitting there.
Yeah, I know. I think. Oh, yeah. I guess they are. I guess they are younger. But I think that dads, like moms, are always gonna think that there is no woman that's better for you, no woman or man better for you than me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's his job as a dad to be hard on any man, because if I have to give her away to you, and you better do a better job than what I was doing.
Yeah,
and sure. I was doing a damn good job making sure she was okay, making sure she was taken care of. She is now your responsibility. Like, when you're looking at it from like an old school standpoint, you know what I'm saying? I'm giving her to you to cherish and to take care of, you know what I'm saying, and to provide for and all the things. Mm-hmm. So you better do a damn good job, a better job than me. You better top me in all them areas. And if for whatever reason, he's a man, so he knows how men think, or he knows how men are. If he gets a vibe where it's just like, no, he ain't gonna be, nope, I don't have your blessing. And sometimes dads are just assholes where it don't matter if the guy, actually has the means to like take care of you or whatever. They're gonna say no anyway, just because. But it's just like, come on, now, stop being an ass. But like, he was like really just like, I don't know if they have like the best relationship. I don't think they have the best relationship. He's just like, no, I just don't understand how this is gonna work. You know what I'm saying, y'all? I don't see it. I don't get it. No, you don't have my support. Nope. But Zach was, no, I'm not gonna lie. They look so bored at the damn table.
He was weird.
Because I just feel like, they need to not have like, they need to not penalize you for getting a ticket, because there are other things that they could be doing with, with the laws on the books right now. Don't nobody give a fuck about that. I was bored, and I wasn't even at the damn table. I was bored.
That man's face.
I was bored. That man was looking like, he said, well, I don't really know anything about all that, but
he looked at Zach with pure disgust. Like, what?
Like, nigga, what the fuck are you, like, bro, what are you talking about? What are you saying? What do you mean? Like, he was very, very, like, he was more interesting with the ladies, with her mom and her sister.
Yeah.
He was more interesting with her, and I think it was because they did most of the talking. But I think when Zach talks about bliss, I feel like he's trying to like be poetic with it, and he's trying to sell it.
Yes. It's like,
and it doesn't sound really believable. It sounds like, when did my nail break? Anyways, it sounds like it just sounds, I don't know, like he was like, I fell in love.
Say the right thing.
Yeah, I fell in love with her character. And I just we bonded over science and this and that. And it's like, you're really, really laying it on thick because you know you fucked up. And it's like, you really want to sell it. But it's like, if the connection is there,
she shouldn't have been your number 2 at all.
and if the connection is there for real, you don't have to work so hard with your words to sell
Yep.
it. People will be able to see it for what it is and be like, you know what? Yeah, I totally can see why, XYZ, blah, 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 blah.
I do think they're a cute couple. Like, he a little weird looking. That's the only thing I agree with Arena with. He do look like a cartoon character, but he's somewhat of a good match to Bliss. I want to see them and how they like act in the Love After show when that comes up. I want to see that dynamic because Zach a little strange. Her dad really seen that. Like, this nigga is a little weird. He's a little weird. But that's my thoughts on Zach and Arena.
Yeah, I feel like they're not going to get married. And I feel like Bliss is going to be the one to tell him no, because she's just really being honest about the situation. Like, hey, I don't know if I love you enough in this moment to say I can marry you. And I don't know if I'm like truly over, not being second best or second choice. No woman wants to be that. I don't give a damn how you try to flip it or whatever. That's always going to be a thought in the back of her mind. You didn't want me first.
Yep.
You wanted another girl. You wanted a girl that was, you know what I'm saying, that you feel like you had more of a connection with. And then when you got with her, you realized that she wasn't really feeling you like that. And so now you're telling me all I could think about was you, and all I could think about was this and that and blah, 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 blah. I feel like that may have been so, but it's like,
and it was embarrassing. You really got to think about that. It was embarrassing to see this man go on a whole honeymoon with somebody else. You come back from that on some "I want you." What?
Yeah, like you not like oh, okay, because she wasn't what you wanted. It's like, okay, almost as if she was like a safety net or something. And he was like, well, and I'm not expecting you to like take me back after all of this and everything like that. I know it's going to be work and this, that, and the third, but it's like, shit. In knowing that, I feel like you have to be willing to really put in the work, and you got to be honest with yourself here and say, hey, listen, I don't know if she is at a point where she feels comfortable enough saying I do to me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there's some things that we have to work through and we have to work on. And I just don't feel like we're there yet. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to be like, no, not right now. But we can, we can work through it. And when we do get married, we'll be in a much better space, in a much better predicament. That's my opinion with them.
Okay. Chelsea and Kwame. Now, I just want to let y'all know, Kwame is not a fan favorite. He's not a fan favorite.
At all. Like,
we don't fuck with him. So, tell us about Kwame and Chelsea.
Kwame first started out with Micah, like we had mentioned in the beginning, and Kwame and Micah had a really strong connection, but so did Kwame and Chelsea. Yep. And Kwame was going to propose to Micah before Paul ended up swooping her up or whatever. So he ended up proposing to Chelsea. And in that regard, I also feel like Chelsea was second choice, second best too. Because after they propose to each other, yeah, they have a connection, and yes, they love each other. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But everybody knows that when you meet that one person that you have a connection with, that you really wanted a life with, they're always going to hold a little tiny place in your heart.
Yeah.
You're going to always feel a way about them. You know what I'm saying? I think that I know that we don't like Kwame. I know that we say that he's not self-accepting, but there's some things going on in his relationship as well that I feel like are going to be factors in him not saying yes to Chelsea. I feel like, number one, he does not have the support of his family.
Not at all.
And I feel like his brother and his sister, they support him, and his dad supports him. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like support is better shown when you're physically there. Yeah. It's one thing to say out your mouth, hey, I support you, but do you show up for me when I need you to, in physical support? You know what I'm saying? So I think that is a factor. I feel like his mom, really, I feel like he's really a mama's boy, and he loves his mom dearly, and
That's his best friend.
in her opinion, yeah, in her opinion, is very much valued, and that can be a problem, especially like when you have somebody in your life who you really, really care for, and you value their opinion, and you really want to make them happy. Sometimes making them happy comes at the expense of you doing things that you don't want to do.
Yeah. Like
Um,
life, he's felt like he's had to basically do everything by the book.
yeah,
They're African, so y'all know, if you know Africans, you know Caribbeans, you know they got a very stern way of how they want things to go through their lives. And his mom is very
she's a very religious woman. She prefers for him to marry a Ghanaian woman. And she doesn't believe in sex before marriage. Like she's very traditional, like in her way of thinking.
yeah.
So when she found out he was doing the experiment, she wasn't for that. When she found out he found somebody in the experiment, she literally hung the phone up in his face and said that she was upset and
Yep.
didn't want to talk to him. That hurt his heart.
Yeah.
That, like, I'm telling y'all, like, you don't see black men be vulnerable on TV like that. That hurt his heart. Like that, I'm talking about, it fucked him up because I just want my mom. It's like he's like, I just want my mom to accept me. Because I feel like everybody else has gotten that. You know what I'm saying? His sister has it, his brother has it. I think he wants the same. And I don't think he's gonna get that. And I feel like, yes, my sister's here to support me, but it would mean the world to me, and it would really really make this a lot easier of a transition if I had my mama here to sign off on it and say like she's a good girl. And I think that's going to be the thing that's really going to set them apart. Also, he is very far away from his support system. He has a whole life in Oregon. I work from home, but I play soccer with my friends, a few times a week. I've got my family there, my support system there. I have a place where I can go and find refuge
Yeah.
there when I want to get away, from everything that is my fiance's family. I can easily go home, or what I'm saying? I don't have that here. And he made a good point in saying, I feel like I'm doing a lot of the compromising.
Yeah. She ain't
I don't
been
know if I call it compromising. I definitely say sacrificing because
for
he is having to pick up and move. But it makes sense. You work from home, you have a remote job. So like your job does not require you to do
yeah. 'Cause
your
she's
your
a
job doesn't require you to be on location. But I understand it's like I'm giving up more than just my home that I stay in. I'm actually giving up my family, being close to my family. You haven't said not one time that you're willing to move.
Yeah, but she works at a hospital as a speech pathologist, so I can get why it would be a little harder for her to switch her job. But as long as she's made her route, she should be able to switch hospitals. But I don't know. I don't
Well,
see
that's tricky too, because you can't guarantee a job in speech
for
pathology.
yeah. I can see why, Chelsea would want to stay there. She has her family. Her family seems really, really nice. But it's like, I don't see her consoling him the way he needs. Like we said, we don't really care
Yes,
about
I
Kanye,
agree.
but I would want to see her accept his feelings, really sit down and talk to him and be like,
Yes.
if I completely understand, or if I don't understand, I'm empathizing as much as I can with you. I have not seen that from Chelsea. Another reason why I don't fuck with Chelsea, because he's sitting here crying out for help. I've been around you all day. I haven't had a moment to just, whew, I'm here with the damn dog. I love the dog, but I'm here with the damn dog. Like, I'm trying to have a moment to myself. Like Lyah said, his stuff is important to Oregon. He can't just pack up and go. And then they were at a dressing a store or something. She's trying on clothes, and he's just like, my
Yeah,
energy.
it was very much like I'm really not like, because on that day, you know what I'm saying, he did have a lot going on. It's kind of like I'm not really in it for real. Like I'm not really here. I'm not really enjoying this whole experience of like you being here and try. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like when she cries and like when she's emotional about stuff, he's always consoling her. But
Yeah,
I feel like she just like, I haven't met your mom, but I can still be that. But I don't think they come from two different worlds in that
yeah,
her family is always around. Her family's literally right there in her back pocket. They're supportive of everything that she does.
yeah.
She has a really big support system. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes in Black families, like sometimes you don't have that. You have a support system so long as you're doing it in a way that is pleasing
Yep.
to you know what I'm saying? When you're doing it a non-traditional way or a way that people don't deem as like, normal, you don't
Mm-hmm.
always have that support because they're skeptical. And then if you're an immigrant family, it's a little bit different because I didn't have you come over here. I did not, risk my life and my, and my savings and everything else to come up for you to come over here and, do frivolous and do shenanigans like a goddamn experiment where you're marrying somebody in less than 90 days
Mm-hmm.
that you don't even know. I didn't come over here for you to do that. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? I came over here for you to get a good paying, for you to have a better life than what we had in our home country.
Mm-hmm. Because I
I
think
came over here for you
woman
to still, you know what I'm saying, to have your religious values and for you to marry. I want you to keep it in the tradition and keep our culture going. You're marrying this outsider. She don't know nothing about our culture. She can't really participate in the things that, you know what I'm saying, that we, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I get it. But at the same time, it's like, hey, I'm an adult and I'm gonna make the decisions that I feel are best for me. And it's really hard. It is really, really, really hard. It's really easy to say, I don't care if I don't have the support of my family. I don't really care if they don't like my person, da 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 da. That's real easy to say. But when you are getting married and you look over on your side of the aisle where your family is sitting and you have nobody, that shit hurts because you want somebody to be there clapping you on and giving you away. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's gonna play a part in him being like, no, I don't think I can do this because it's not right. This is not the way I envision my wedding going.
But wait, let me add on to that. Because if that's the case, right? If he knew his mother wasn't going to be supportive of that, especially probably talking to her about it, since that's his bestie, he should have known that his mother wouldn't have been accepting of this situation, especially with this woman hasn't even been like, well, let me. Okay, you remember like SK and Raven, how Raven kind of tried to immerse herself into SK's culture?
Yeah.
Chelsea has not done
Done
that.
that. Yeah.
Like when I think about why his mom wouldn't be accepting, this girl ain't not once tried. She hasn't tried to be immersed in your culture. She hasn't tried not once to really sit down with us and have a conversation and talk. So when I'm looking at
Well,
the ship, I'm like, I don't see the effort of her trying to immerse herself into his culture at
when
all.
you say immerse yourself, I will say this. First of all, in order for you to sit down and have a conversation with somebody, they actually have to be open to it.
Mm-hmm.
And he tried. I think what it was like, I'm trying to talk to my mom so that she can meet you and get to see you
Mm-hmm.
and, get to know you in the way, not, what I'm saying, in the way that I do. Or it's, what I'm saying? She can
Yeah.
get to hang out with you and come to her own decisions. You don't, true enough, you don't know this woman. So um, you don't know what she's willing to do to make sure that that, hey, I understand that this is his culture and I will do everything that I can to learn about it and to be respectful of it. You know what I'm saying? You didn't give her a chance to do that, and I feel like he was trying. She wanted to speak to his mom. She did try. He told her no. He said, I need to do this on my own because she does not like you. She doesn't know you.
Mm-hmm.
So you talking to her is probably not the best idea right now. I need to get through to her first, which I think was smart on his end because first of all,
It
if
was
I'm a mama
a
and I already and the person that you're marrying is not a traditional woman that I would have rather you marry, I don't want to hear from you. Girl, I don't know you. Why the
Mm-hmm.
fuck are you on the phone? Put my son on the phone so I can talk to my son. I don't want to talk to you. Like, girl, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I agree with that. But the family has to be just as willing as the fiance to put one foot forward and get to know each other. It can't always be one sided. And I'm quite sure she would be more than willing to. But it's like, I can't even get past my mom
Mm-hmm.
to get to, what I'm saying, for her to even get to know you. So it's kind of like I'm really between a rock and a hard place here. It's like, do I go with what I'm feeling in my gut and do I marry this woman or what do I do? But I don't know. I feel like with him, I feel like he's getting cold feet and I feel like it's really starting to sink in that this is happening. And I don't know if their love is strong enough for him to be like, yeah, I'm gonna marry you despite what's going on.
I don't think their connection is that strong only because it seems like he's really battling a lot when it comes to the acceptance of her in his family. Like it just it's not convincing to me. Like it's it's really not convincing. Like even though her family's like, oh my god, Kwame, yeah, come on in. You know, like they're all excited for him, but it's not convincing. Like I think
I don't see it. I
no,
really don't see it, and I want it to work for them. You know what I'm saying? But I just feel like in certain scenarios, she's just not understanding enough. Like especially when he's like, well, I feel like I'm doing a lot of compromising and sacrificing. Well, welcome to marriage. That's real easy for you to say welcome to marriage because you ain't doing shit. You're not leaving anything behind.
yeah,
You're not battling, like we said before, you're not battling what he's battling. So when she said that, I feel like that was really like inconsiderate and really like oh well, it is what it is. That's what marriage is.
yeah,
But it's like it is, but also it's not even a compromise because it's not like um it's a flat out sacrifice because a compromise is you give something, I give something, you lose something, I lose something. You haven't given anything.
yeah,
Like you're moving out of your apartment because like we're gonna have to find somewhere else to stay.
yeah.
Because that place is not gonna suit everybody. But as far as you moving to Portland, no, you're not doing any. It's a full on sacrifice for me. I'm sacrificing a lot here, a lot more than you are. So I don't know. Well,
I could
that's gonna be a show to see.
I could was like 45 minutes, 30 minutes from Portland to Seattle, but it's not. It's the whole 3 hours. So it's like I can't, just pack up today, this morning, and be like, oh, I'm being in Portland all day. I'll be back tonight. Like that's a lot of hours on the road. That's gonna get real taxing real fast. So hopefully, if they do work out, because like I said, I see him saying yes on that day, like wedding day. I don't see it, but
I don't either.
I need her to just, I don't know. I need her to give a little bit more, and I'm gonna need him to really set down his feelings with his mom and let her know, like, hey, like I'm getting older. I want you to be able to be a part of this, and stop trying to be like, I just want you to accept this, because I've had issues with my mother just not accepting things. So at some point, as an adult, you just got to be like,
you just gotta do shit. You just gotta do it and be like, listen, you either gonna come around or you're not. At the end of the day, it's your decision.
It is what it is.
But the couple of the hours that everybody is talking about is a love. There, you know what? There have been a lot of love triangles this season.
It really. This was the season of motherfucking.
There have been a lot of love triangles this season. Like y'all, Jackie and Marshall. Now Jackie and Josh.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole thing to unpack. Like Jackie and Marshall, they started out. Jackie and Marshall, they dated obviously in the pods. And they hit it off very, very well. And Jackie opened up to him very early on about like just her childhood and how her family looks at her as far as like now being an adult, how she's kind of like the support system for like her family and all that.
I don't.
And I don't know about her and Josh. Just really didn't seem to have that connection in the way that her and Marshall did.
They had a sensual type of connection. It was, oh, I can flirt with him. He got a nice voice. It was that.
Yeah, but like I feel like this is the thing, y'all. And I was going. Aisha posted something on Twitter, and I was replying to it or whatever. And I replied to it, and I said, I pray that Black women are released from the shackles of toxic struggle love.
Yes.
Because she literally told Marshall that like she has not ever been loved properly by a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Then you know what I'm saying? And then it's like you tell Marshall that he needs to boss up.
Mm-hmm.
And he needs to initiate more, or you know what I'm saying, needs to do more during sex. Now we only saw a small little snippet of it. The only thing I'll say that Marshall did wrong in that situation, he called her a project, and I was like, whoa, that was a bit of that was a low blow. And that is a prime example of why y'all need to learn to shut the fuck up.
Yes.
Because you end up saying shit. He was like, oh my God, like that's not what I didn't mean to call her a project. I was upset and I said it in the moment.
He said it like 2-3 times.
He was like, "Yep, I dated you because you were a project." That's what it. I was like, "Now, project? Wait a minute. That's a very bold
That's
statement
hard.
to be making, to say that to somebody. You just a project. You just a DIY, a fixer upper.
Yeah.
It's giving Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Yeah.
Like it gave that. But
Before we
I feel that like I felt that first of all, um,
the interaction with Josh and Marshall, before we got pod, you gotta mention that.
the interaction. Okay, yeah. So back to the pies. Because I'm jumping ahead because there's so much to say about this couple, bro. It's so much to fucking say about this couple. So the interaction between Josh and Marshall, they obviously when you're in the pod, you've got like 30 singles dating. So you're going to cross reference. You're going to have like five people, three or four, five people interested in one person. It's just how it is, right?
Oh.
So Josh and Marshall ended up being interested in Jackie. But the way Josh went about it, if you don't pick me, I'm just gonna pack my bags up and I'm just gonna go home because
It gave victim.
me, I don't see anybody else here for me. And Marshall was like, bro, like, come on now, don't do no bullshit like that. Like, be a man about it and just say how you feel. You know what I'm saying? Marshall was like, but if you want to do something like that, I'm gonna let no, that's mine.
Yeah.
Marshall, first of all, that's bossing up. I think, and honestly, I think that's what Jackie wanted more of.
Yep.
I think she wanted him to be more like how you were when we were in the pods. You literally told this man like, listen, I don't know what the fuck you got going on. In so many words, like, but that's mine.
Yep.
You can back. You can go on. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's what she wanted more of.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, so after all that happened and he ended up getting the girl, you seeing on their honeymoon how she's just overwhelmed and she starts to think about things that haven't even happened yet. Yeah. She starts trying to cross bridges that they haven't even approached. Like, oh my God, I'm just worried about my family and I just don't know how they're gonna feel about you, if they're gonna accept you. And it's like I need you to calm down because first of all, we haven't even gotten to that point yet. You shut me out first because it's like I don't really know how to work through my emotions. And then he was sitting by the door waiting, like, I'm not gonna come in there. I'm gonna let you be by yourself. I'm gonna let you be alone.
He never left her. That really shows his character.
Yeah. He literally was like, oh, I'm gonna let you go in this bathroom, I'm gonna let you do what you do, but I'm gonna sit outside this door so that way when you come out,
yeah,
I'll be here. Like homeboy literally
like
he had it made, bro. Like what?
Homeboy was very considerate of her feelings. He really took into consideration how she felt. He made her day very comfortable. Like, I understand that anxiety is terrible. Child, I got it. I understand it. But she kept pushing him away. And in that moment, I didn't know what else she wanted from him on the honeymoon because he was doing all the right things. Like
all the right things. Literally.
Yeah.
Literally. Like when I say Marshall is the type of man that I feel like every woman should have, she should experience in her lifetime. This man literally said like, hey, I'm here. You don't have to do it alone. I'm here. Let me know what's going on. And he may feel a way about a situation, but he gonna put his feelings to the side to make sure that you were okay. He did everything to benefit you. Like he made sure that you were good. And when she did him like that, it really hurt. It really fucked him up and it hurt his feelings. It hurt his heart. You could tell.
Confusing because she kept saying one thing and she would do another within the next couple of hours from that. But we're gonna get to that because I got information, current information. I'm gonna get to it in a second, but we're gonna slow walk it till we get there. We're gonna slow walk it. But after the honeymoon.
After the honeymoon, you know, they get back to the house or whatever. Everything was fine between the two of them, but she ended up having one of her episodes again. You know what I'm saying? And then like I don't remember a whole lot because like it's a lot to unpack. But she ended up having one of her episodes, and then I know one of the episodes they ended up getting into an argument. He was just like, every time you have one of your episodes, you shut me out. So what am I supposed to do? And then you're telling me to initiate more. I initiate sex. I you know what I'm saying? I cuddle with you. I always tell you that I love you and how beautiful you are and this, that, and the third. And it's like, I wonder you don't want somebody. He's really Josh or Marshall is very much go with the flow. He's very
Yeah.
much like whatever you want to do, we can do. I'm not opposed to anything you want to do, whatever makes you comfortable.
Yeah.
Met a guy like that, and those kinds of guys are amazing.
Mm.
However, you do want somebody, and sometimes just take the initiative and say, "This is what we're gonna do today."
Yeah.
But you also have to be willing, and you have to allow him to be able to do that, to
Yeah.
take that initiative. And you also have to let people in and let people know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
So
I,
like
she definitely did a lot of just reacting, reacting, reacting. She didn't do a lot of like, this is why I feel like this. And then kept using the bullshit excuse like, no one's ever talked to me about this before. Bitch, I'm asking you. That's like if you start busting out crying right now, Leah. And you keep telling me, I just don't know why. I can't tell you. And I'm like, just tell me how you're feeling. Just express me in one or two to three words how you're feeling. I've never had anyone. What the bitch? Tell
I
bitch.
don't know. I don't know how
Tell
I feel. I don't know. And like, and seeing, and in those moments when she couldn't, because
me.
okay, now what I will say, what I will respect about that is like in those moments when I cannot tell you how I feel, please leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
Leave me alone. I don't. When it first happens, don't. What's wrong? How you feel? You okay, bitch? No, I'm still trying to fucking
Right.
process what's going
Just
on.
started.
I'm not. I don't know how I feel. I don't fuck. I know I'm crying. I just know that in the moment I'm crying. I can't tell you how I'm feeling because I'm feeling a lot of things at one time, and it's a lot of shit hitting me at once. So I can't. You know what I'm saying? Like I operate like that. I have to be by myself so that I can properly, number one, process what the fuck is going on or what just happened,
But
and
even
then
you have
break
processed.
down how it made me feel. So when I'm ready to talk to my man or whoever it is, I can tell you like, hey, I'm trying to wrap my head around what's going on, but at this moment, the most prominent emotion that I feel right now is.
Yeah.
So
I
I
don't
can respect the
think
fact
she
that you
gave
would leave her
that to him.
alone, but it's like, still.
I don't think she gave that to him because she just kept saying, I want you to be more aggressive. And then he's like, she made it seem like I want you to be more aggressive in day to day. But then tell someone else, I just really wanted him to be more rough in the bedroom. Bitch, those are two different things. Them are
Literally.
two different things. Express to me in the bedroom. Oh no, babe, do it more like this. Do a little rougher like this. I'm sure a man can accommodate for that. But in the day to day, you need me to be more aggressive to you. I'm not gonna do that, honey. That's toxic.
And he
That.
literally said, I don't do that. I'm
Mm,
not going to participate in this toxic, love like that she wants. I don't do that. Most
mm,
girls that get with me, when I treat them right, they don't know how to take that there because it's not something that they're used to. And I feel like that may be a trait in him where he feels like a fixer.
yes, yes. Because I know somebody like that.
Like I feel like when you and I feel like maybe he's not even a fixer, but sometimes when you are a natural healer to
He
people,
attracts image
you
so.
just you attract broken people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you mean well, but in the process of you trying to fix them, you're hurting yourself. So
Yep.
I feel like that may be a trait that he has, where maybe he feels like he has to fix people, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe he just naturally attracts. Um, maybe he just has an aura where you attract all kinds of people because people are attracted to the light that you have,
Yeah.
and sometimes the wrong people get a glimpse of that light and they want, you know what I'm saying, they want to be a part of it, but in turn it kind of, they fuck you over in the long run.
Yep.
And i
So
feel like I feel like the ultimate, like, first of all, you don't, what I can appreciate is the fact that they are allowing black men to be emotional on television. They are humanizing black men in this show.
mm-hmm.
You usually don't see that
Yeah.
on television or on reality shows. These men are allowed to be human beings. They're allowed to be human men and feel their emotions, and if you need to cry, you can cry.
Yeah.
If you feel frustrated, you can say, I am frustrated and this is hurting me, and this, you know what I'm saying. I can appreciate that, because to me that is sexy in a man, but especially in a black man, because black men don't be expressing
Yeah.
themselves like that. They don't go to therapy. They don't have an outlet where they can talk about their emotions. So to see that being expressed, that's very sexy to me. That's very attractive. But I feel like what really made Jackie public enemy number one, probably more hated than Kwame, was because literally, I'm telling you, and you got to do. I feel like you had to do a lot to be more hated than
Girl, yeah.
Kwame. But like, what made her public enemy number one? Instead of you having your ass at the goddamn bridal shower at the
before we get to the bridal shower, wait. Hold up, slow back.
Oh, wait a minute, the birthday party.
The
birthday. Now that was some shit. Shit because two people returned. Paul's ex, Amber. That's who he was in a thing with. It was Amber and Micah. Amber came, and then Josh came. And when Jackie and Marshall came to the party, they came separately, and I think they came right after the argument that they had.
Secrets on the street may say Jackie came to the party with Josh and told him to wait back a little bit and then come in, because they didn't come. They came in close to time. It's not like she was there when Marshall showed up. Jackie came through, then Josh came through.
So, I feel like Josh was there first.
He was there, but like I said, people felt like he came with her. They came together, and she left with Marshall.
I think he came first, and then because remember, she showed up late. I think he came first, and then she showed up afterwards. But like that it was really, really messy because they had, first of all, you just got into an argument. The last thing you need to do is to be talking to your ex, who clearly still feels a way about losing out on you, feeling like he missed out on something.
And she was being unnecessarily rude to Marshall. She was just like, I just want people to see my dress. Like, it's going to mess up the fit. He's like, then you hold your jacket. Like, she was being overly aggressive and rude.
He was like, are you cold? He's like, are you cold? No. Girl, yes, you are. Take this damn jacket. Like, stop being an ass. Like, here, you're going to mess up my dress. No, it's not going to mess up your dress. Just take the damn jacket. Like, like, stop acting like that. I just want them to see my dress. Da, 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 da. Like, you didn't even really mingle and socialize. It was Chelsea's birthday party.
Yep.
You really didn't like mingle and socialize with them from what we saw on TV. So it was just kind of like, what was the, like, girl? Then you're standing up there and you're skinning and grinning in this man's face, and like in Josh's face, like he asked you, do you think could you see yourself marrying such and such? And she starts laughing because no, you don't see yourself marrying this man. And I think that was what was really fucked up, was like, instead of you letting him know that you told a whole other man, giving him the upper hand. One thing about a man, or even anybody in a relationship, I don't want a motherfucker to feel like they know more about what you're thinking than me. I don't like that. Don't give another female the upper hand on our relationship, or you know what I'm saying, or on me, because now when I'm walking around them, they gonna look at me like, bitch, I know something you don't.
Yeah.
Like, it gives those vibes. And I think for her to do that, it was like really, it was beyond disrespectful. It was very inconsiderate, and it really showed her true character. And it gives me vibes of like, I feel like in some of your relationships, you were the problem because of how you were acting. And that's probably, you know.
She was too okay for me to be flirting with Josh in front of Marshall. So
she was too comfortable doing that.
When they got back from the party, and he was just like wanted to speak. He wanted to talk to her. And it's 12 at night. You're trying to make me talk at 12 at night. Like, it's too late. I'm tired. And he, in that moment, he could have been like, okay, I'm going to talk to you in the morning. We're going to get our rest. We're going to talk in the morning. But when they end up talking, it was already on some, I don't want to be with you type shit. Like, this is weird. And she ended up meeting with Josh. Now, the day that they met with Josh, because this is some current tea added into this. So this was April of last year when this was filmed, right? There's a thread of text messages right now that's going around because her friend in a group chat exposed these messages. The day that they were going to film, her friends couldn't be there because they both had to work. Jackie was telling them earlier that day, like, I don't know about him, y'all. Like, he be twerking. He twerked one time on the bed. He said yes. I think he gay. So they're
gay.
Sugar in his tank. He's sweet. All this and that, right? So they're like, oh, but are you still gonna marry him? Because then she started asking them about, wedding day. Like, what you thinking? And they're like, girl, what time is it? Let us know type stuff so we can be off of work. She's like, well, I'm trying to take it all the way to the finale. I'm trying to go to the finale with it. I'm trying to get famous pretty much off this. Jackie's sole reason to come on the show was to get famous. So the day that they went to the bridal shop and Brett came over to Marshall and was like, hey, homegirl didn't show up to the dress fitting thing. She didn't come. Marshall was like, okay, cool. We jump over to Jackie. Jackie wrote on Instagram a couple of days back when the episodes came out. She was just like, they tried to edit that out. My hair was different. My clothes was different. Jackie told Marshall once he finally met up with her on some, what is this? What's going on? She told us verbatim pretty much, because I ain't gonna say it was exact verbatim, but verbatim basically, that I just saw Josh this morning. We saw her and Josh in a coffee shop, right? She was telling Josh, I want to be with you pretty much. And they was going to figure it out. That's where we left Jackie and Josh together. So later that day, she saw Marshall. This is how.
And then told them. Oh. And told him how that went. That wasn't after that was way after the party.
Mm-hmm.
That was way after the party. The party was like, they were trying to talk and he didn't want to talk or anything or she didn't want to talk. And I think he ended up letting it go. I think he ended up leaving the house that night.
Yeah. But this is
de-escalate the situation.
Back and she was asking her, like, he asked her about the ring and all that stuff. And that's the same day that she met with Josh, like in person at the coffee shop, was the same day the bridal stuff was going on when they went to stuff. And she tried to say on Instagram recently, like a couple of days ago, that they edited to make it look one way. But you said what you said, girl. Like, you said, I saw Josh earlier this morning, and he's like, Marshall's like, hey, well, give me my ring. No, I'm not gonna give the ring back because when I accepted it, I wanted to marry you. Bitch, that's not a good enough reason to keep.
Literally, why are you keeping the ring? You're not marrying me. We're not getting engaged.
Yeah.
I mean, we're no longer engaged. You just told me you want to be with another man. Oh, and then not only that, but you really, she said that at the party without saying it.
Yep.
Literally to me.
Yep.
I feel like that was something that was, I feel like they didn't show that part. They didn't show this part, but this is just my thinking. I feel like after that party, when they went home and they had that conversation and Josh, I think, or Marshall ended up leaving or however it went, the house or whatever, to kind of cool off or whatever. I feel like they had words. Mm-hmm. I feel like her and what's the name were already having words, already texting and planning to meet up anyway. Because it just seems a little bit weird. Then when he came in the house from the fitting for his tuxedo or whatever, she was on her phone, just sitting scrolling like she did shit wrong. I felt like that was a very bitch move because if you knew you didn't want to be with that man, you shouldn't have that man show up in no goddamn fitting for a tux.
Happy too. Like, oh my God, if I could find it.
He was literally about to say something good about that woman, and then Brett came over there and told him that.
Yep. But Brett is a good friend because if I knew I just got to text my girl and talking about yours and we together, I'm going to let you know what that say because I don't need you out here looking stupid. Literally. That's a good friend right there.
I'm not even going to say that he's not because that was. Mm-hmm.
For Josh and for Josh and Jackie, word on the street is as well, according to the friend that leaked all this stuff. First of all, bitch, get a good friend. Get a better friend because your friend just throw all your business out here.
Okay.
Jackie and Josh had been talking since the pods had ended. Like, since they came out the pods, them two never stopped talking. So I feel like if Jackie was having these outbursts back to back, it was probably on some, I don't want you, I want Josh. Because Josh is a little bit more, he kind of hood a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And she's not used to a man like Marshall. So I guess her accepting a man like Marshall was too much for her. But at the same time, that's when you verbalize. This is why I'm like, how are you emotionally there and all this stuff for your family?
But literally, y'all, like literally when they broke up, she literally said, maybe I need to work on myself.
Yeah!
Oh. Maybe, bitch, ain't no maybe in that. You do. You broke that man's heart and didn't give a fuck about it. Like that's some real savagery type shit. And I feel like people who do stuff like that to kind hearted, you don't get far in life. You don't make it.
No,
Nothing
no.
good comes to you because you're not doing this for the right reasons. You know what I'm
We,
saying? You can tell I don't know if y'all follow this is woman named Machiavelli on TikTok.
mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody knows who she is, but when Jackie starts talking, she reminds me of her, like her accent.
Mm-hmm.
It gives me those vibes. But like all in all, I feel like she should have just done a better job at like letting him know and not been such an asshole about it. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I feel like we are not compatible and I am sorry for, wasting your time and I'm sorry for doing this, that, and the third, but I just don't want to marry you. I don't want to be with you.
This is why I can't wait to the reunion. I need this villain of a woman because she has a lot of self work to take care of. And this is
Literally.
my thing too. When she sat there and told Marshall, I'm not even ready to marry you. Why are you on this show? The premise of the show is you meet this person in the pot. Y'all go on this honeymoon. Y'all live together. Y'all get married. Or not. That's the premise of the show.
Literally. And then it's like,
What?
like I just feel like, first of all, just want to talk about the show since we didn't gave all the couples because we've been on here for a minute talking.
Or we have.
I feel like this show, first of all, I've watched Married at First Sight before.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the dynamic or like how they have it set up, and honestly, I like it because you have therapists along every step of the way. You do check-ins with the therapist, and they'll ask you, "Hey, I gave you some homework to do. Did you do it?"
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I
And
feel like I feel like
they hold them accountable for their bullshit. So if they realize
yeah.
you're trying to play, oh no, you're not gonna marry her. We're not letting you do that. No, or we gonna let you divorce her pretty much because they
Yeah,
already.
yeah. It's like, okay, after a year, are you going to, or however long it is, or do you feel like you can stay married? Or do you want to get a divorce? I feel like, first of all, if you're going to do a show like this, if you're going to do an experiment like this, number one, they've married each other without, or they're getting married to each other, falling in love with each other without ever having seen one another.
You
The
see the
second, the second you get the second you see your partner and you have had the honeymoon phase, you need to do a
yeah,
therapy session, individually and as a couple. So that way you can individually be like, hey, these are my flaws or the issues that I have. This is what my relationship has been like. Or even if you don't do it individually, do a couples thing where you both talking about your issues.
yeah,
And then you have somebody there along the way, during the engagement process, because and there's a lot of people that will benefit from this, like Chelsea and Kwame would benefit from it
yes.
because you are joining two different cultures and you're white, he's black. I don't give a damn if you went by Alex, if you went by Connor, if you went by Kevin, if you went by Kendall, James, John, Richard, Lucas. I don't care who you decide to call yourself. When you stepped out, you was gonna be looking like midnight, baby. It don't
Right.
matter.
Gonna be a
You are
nigga in the
joining two different cultures and the way you view emotions is not the same. It's very,
yeah,
very different. And I think that would greatly help. Also, Nick and Vanessa Lachey, y'all are celebrities and you have to be you cannot be biased. You have
yeah.
to ask like neutral questions and you can't really get into their ass the way they ass need to be gotten into.
They need the person that's on Married at First Sight. They need that host guy that does the reunions. They need him on there because homeboy gonna ask
Not
them.
even just him, but they need, like somebody said, get a couple who's been on the show, who
Yeah,
knows what it's like Lauren and Cameron. Get them
yeah.
to come on the show and ask them questions about like what really, like, because like I really would want to know at the reunion, what was the point of being mean girls, Micah and Irina? What was your end goal? What did
Mm-hmm.
you think you were doing?
Cause you don't.
Irina, you did all that being a mean girl shit only for you to not even like the man, for it to backfire in your face. So was it worth mocking Bliss? Was it worth watching her bake cupcakes? Was it worth, and then you know what I'm saying? Like, was it worth doing that? Getting
Yeah.
with Zach and then realizing that wasn't even what you wanted? Michael, was it worth calling her your best friend early on? Now that you know that she was secretly trying to fuck on your man? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they need a different host to ask those hard hitting questions to really get down to the nitty gritty because I feel like they be trying to keep it cute and keep it under an hour. But
Right.
shit, if you need to be like the Real Housewives, but they do 2 and 3 part reunions, people
Yeah.
would watch that because there's a lot to unpack in this season
Yeah.
alone with all these damn triangles and like just everything that they.
I think that's why they came out with those love after shows, like the additionals to the series, because we wanted more. We need a little bit more. Y'all gave us a teaspoon when we really needed a
I
whole.
mean, yeah, but you also have to think too. The After the Altar is a year after the fact. So yeah, it's an update, but it's still they still don't have a reunion at the end of that. You know what I'm saying? Like you really don't know what happened after
Well,
the altar.
that show you get to learn that you get to learn what you need to know. The unanswered questions are answered in that, like with Shane and Shayna, that whole situation. Like we knew that at that last episode after they did the update. So I don't think we necessarily need a second reunion because we can see it on social media all in itself.
I just feel like they need to my sister said they should have filmed several of these shows at the same time. They should have did the experiment several, like, you know what I'm saying, in several different cities at the same time. Because now that people know the experiment and now that people know how it works, they're only coming on here for clout and for fame.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because they have something to promote or whatever the case may be, and it's taken away from the experiment. And like now it's a joke. It's just a big goddamn. Because come on now, three love triangles.
It was fucking ridiculous.
The three love triangles, bro.
Good is Tiffany and Brett.
Literally, those are the only two, and it would really surprise me if they said no.
It would. I mean, her anxiety may stop her from saying yes, honestly, but whew, this was crazy.
This was really, really crazy. This is a long ass stream, but we had to get into all the couples.
Yeah, because when we do the next episode, our part 2 of this, I'm pretty sure that'll be sometime next week because the 16th is when they do the last episode of this season. And child, it's just so much. It's so much.
They got too much going on. Like they literally have too much going on in this show. And I'm really going to be interested to see. I wonder if this is going to be like a live reunion.
I think it is. I seen that. I seen it. It said live reunion. So.
Or yeah, because now it's going to be like, usually the reunions are like pre-recorded.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's going to cut out for them doing the After the Altar thing too. If they're even going to film an After the Altar episode. But like, I think that reunion may be live. If it's not live, they probably already filmed it and they will do like a live premiere type situation.
I chat and we could talk.
Yeah, so it's like we will, when we do our part 2 recap, it probably won't be as long as this one, but we had to talk about it because it was just like, what the fuck is going on with this damn show?
It is really wild as shit. But that is the end of this, y'all. I ain't gonna say too much because our outro said everything. But thank y'all so much for watching, and we're gonna see y'all in the next one.
See y'all later.
Thank you for watching the Two Real Chicks podcast. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to our channel and press the bell so that you don't miss a single upload. We're always interested in hearing what you think, so be sure to leave your comments and thoughts on this week's episode in the comments below. We'll see you next time.